So happy you are here for you to share your story, talk about the different adventures you've been on as far as your businesses, your nonprofit. And I'm super happy to know that there is someone in this world that's bringing a voice for women who has gone through domestic violence and men
Yeah.
because it's rare, and I too am a survivor of domestic violence, so I'm so grateful to have you here.
Well, thank you for having me and thank you for sharing that because not a lot of people are confident enough, bold enough to really say that they've been through domestic violence.
Yeah.
So thank you for saying that.
So let's talk about what inspired you to create a nonprofit for domestic violence survivors.
Because I'm a survivor, I think that's the simplest way to respond to that.
Mm-hmm.
I've been through it. I know what it takes to get out of it. I know what you experience through it.
Mm-hmm.
I know how hard and challenging it can be mentally, emotionally,
Yes.
even physically, financially at times.
Yeah.
And I wanted people to really understand what is domestic violence,
Mm-hmm.
what are the signs to look out for,
Yes.
and that they can do it too, right?
Yes.
They can come out of it as well.
Mm-hmm. So, what made you create a event that you host for teenage girls, which I think is absolutely beautiful to help them view the signs of domestic violence early. You also just prepare them for womanhood and growing up, financial literacy. But I think it's so great that you're starting early
Mm-hmm.
because for me, my first time experiencing domestic violence, I was a teenager and I witnessed it with my mother and with myself from my stepdad. So I think that it's great that you acknowledge that domestic violence doesn't have a age range
Right,
for it to happen to anyone.
right. So, a couple of things. I was 17 when I found myself in a toxic, abusive relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the key reasons why I wanted to reach the teens early on is because I didn't have the best example growing up, just like you, right?
Yes.
Of what a healthy relationship looks like or what it should look like.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted them to understand what are some of the red flags? How do
Yes.
I create boundaries? What are boundaries? And I didn't know any of these things at that age and stage of my life, like many other teenagers, right? We're just
Yes.
thinking, we want to date, we want to have fun, we
Mm-hmm.
want to look like our peers and do what everyone else is doing, right?
Yes.
And we think it's like a cool thing, right? But
Yes.
just you just jump into this relationship or you jump into these things prematurely, not really fully understanding what is a relationship or what does that look like, and
Yes.
not really prepared for it. So I wanted teen girls to really understand that early on so that they could avoid becoming victims of teen
Yes.
dating violence and becoming more aware of what to look for so they could get out sooner than later, right?
Yes.
And I think that was important. Also, understanding them as a whole, right? Not
Yes.
just teaching them on healthy relationships, but you mentioned we do tackle financial literacy,
Yes.
we tackle leadership development, professional development,
Mm-hmm.
career exposure. I remember for me, like in high school, I was part of an after school organization and it was called FBLA, Future Business Leaders of
I
America.
remember that.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
a national organization
Yes.
and they brought it to our school and I was able to participate. We were taking like accounting classes,
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft courses, keyboarding, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it helped prepare me for my future, my career, like my
Wow.
professional career. And if I didn't have those tools and skill sets early on, I probably would not have been prepared later on in life in my
Yes.
adulthood as a single mother,
Mm-hmm.
not being able to complete college. So we want to deal with the teens early on, dealing with them as a whole individual, emotionally, physically, financially, helping them prepare.
I think that is spectacular. And you don't really see that much for the community or for that age group. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that is great that you are not forgetting about the children.
Absolutely.
And investing in children means investing into their future.
Yeah.
And I think that is something we have lacked over time and got rid of, because there used to be so many organizations at
Mm-hmm.
schools that assist you in learning financial literacy, learning how to just grow up into adulthood in a smooth way.
Yeah.
So I think that's really good that you're trying to keep that in the community.
Right.
As far as you with domestic violence, though, and experiencing it, going through it, processing it, because it's different stages after you realize that you were a domestic violence survivor. What were the side effects that you had for yourself
Mm.
after becoming a survivor?
PTSD. I
Yes.
dealt with fear for some time. Leaving that abusive relationship was not the easiest thing to do,
Yes.
but once I made the decision to step away, I still had to face the music as far as like my emotions,
Mm-hmm.
being alone, becoming a single mother. And mind you, I was still technically a single mother beforehand because being financially abused, everything was on my plate, everything was on my shoulders. I
Mm-hmm.
was handling all of the all the bills that were coming in and expenses. But just having to live on my own, being independent, being a single mother, I was afraid, right? I wasn't sure what the other side looked like. I wasn't sure if the grass would be greener. I wasn't
Yeah.
sure if I would ever find love again. I wasn't sure if, let me go back, that wasn't really love.
Right.
Not if I would
Love
ever
doesn't
find love
hurt
again,
in that
but
way.
if I would ever find true love.
Yes.
And so, just the uncertainty of things, it just made me afraid. And I would sleep with a knife under my pillow because I was
Mm.
afraid for my life and my
Right.
safety, my son's safety at some points, and I just wasn't sure like what his response was going to be any given day. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because one day he could be good, and another day he could be really pissed off and decide to break into my apartment.
Yes.
And he did do that at one point. But it's just the fear of the unknown, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how did you work through those side effects?
Yeah. I didn't go to therapy right away. I will say that.
Okay.
I sat on it for a while and I tried to figure things out on my own, right? Like many of
Yes,
us,
we
we
all
try
try.
to just move forward and we think we got it all together, we got it figured out. But there's some things that you do need prayer for, but in support is a big thing, right? You need your
Yes.
support of your friends, you need support of family, but you also need therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think faith and therapy go hand in hand. You need both in order for you to heal properly before you move on into the next relationship. Or else you are bound, potentially
Mm.
bound to repeating the same cycle and getting into another relationship with
Wow.
similar patterns, similar signs, and you're not even aware. And there are even times where victims of domestic violence, they can become the abuser themselves because they have built this shield, this wall, this
Mm.
this some type of form of resistance of like, I'm never gonna let that happen to me again.
Scared.
Yeah, you're so scared.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're more aggressive.
Right.
So you're in another relationship and you're saying, I'm never gonna let this happen to me again. And the way I'm never gonna let this happen to me again is becoming the more dominant person in the relationship. And then at times even you might become more, become physical in the relationship where you're the abuser,
Mm.
or you might be verbally abusive because you're still hurt, right? And you're
Yeah.
masking that pain with other things and haven't really dealt with it. And removing those layers, that takes therapy, that takes time, to get down to the bottom. And for me, that required going back into my childhood, right? Because again, there were things that I witnessed as a child growing up in toxic environments, in my neighborhood, at home, in school. I saw teen dating violence in my school hallways. So there's a lot of different
Ah.
exposure, right? And you got to deal with it from the root in order for you to really heal.
You're I'm just like in awe of your response, because I think we try to tell ourselves we're okay
Mm-hmm.
after going through it. Me walking away was good enough. I
Mm-hmm.
should be fine now.
Mm-hmm.
But hearing you talk about things, it sounds familiar. And I think sometimes you don't even know that you need the help, or
Mhm.
you probably need therapy, because I think all of us who are spiritual, we will go to prayer.
Mhm.
But just praying is not enough when it comes to certain situations, which is
Right.
domestic violence that causes PTSD.
Mhm.
So just hearing you talk about certain traits that you might go through and you don't want to allow to go into the next relationship, especially if you want love again,
Mhm.
therapy is a must
I
for
I
sure.
believe it's a must. Absolutely. I believe it's an absolute must. And you don't want to end up damaging a relationship that could potentially be the best thing you've ever had, right?
Yeah.
So it requires maturity to understand that therapy may be a necessity, right? It requires
Mhm.
time. And as a single mom at the time, I really didn't have much time. I'm trying to figure out how to feed my son. I'm trying to figure out how to make ends meet. Really, ends can't meet, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to figure out, how to survive living paycheck to paycheck. And so
Yes.
I wasn't thinking about myself. I wasn't thinking about my personal needs and my personal healing phases, right? Like I'm
Mhm.
just thinking about taking care of my child,
Yes.
and you're just trying to survive. But there comes a point of time where you're going to have to face it and really confront it head on and
Yes.
get the help that you
How did you find the perfect therapist for you? Someone you knew
need. Hmm.
will get you to the finish line of actually being healed and seeing growth in the areas that you know were damaged from
Hmm.
being abused.
I've had multiple therapists actually, and
Okay.
I think that I recently had met the most compatible one for me.
Okay.
I've had good therapists that helped me along the way, right? But
Yes.
I feel like the one that I had most recently was the most effective because
Okay.
I'm still in therapy. Because I
That's
think
good.
that you need to do it every now and then for maintenance purposes. And sometimes things can come back up, resurface. Maybe it's something triggered you,
Mm.
and you need to talk to someone. It could be a one-off therapy session, or it could be multiple sessions. It depends whatever the need is. But shopping around, I would say
Okay.
loosely, right?
Okay.
Shopping around or interviewing multiple therapists to see who would be the best person for you. If
Mhm.
it's going to be a male therapist or a female therapist. At one point, I thought I couldn't talk to a male therapist because they probably wouldn't really understand or relate,
Yes.
as a female survivor. And I didn't know if I could really trust a male therapist, right?
Yes.
So I was going through those moments. But over time, you figure out what exactly you need.
Yes.
I did a lot of journaling in the beginning, right? When I first left that abusive relationship, I did a lot of journaling, and that
Okay.
helped me heal tremendously to get my thoughts out. Thoughts that I probably couldn't vocalize or speak to
Mhm.
someone about, and I probably wouldn't even know how to communicate it early
Mhm.
on, honestly. So I did a lot of writing, and that helped me a lot as well. But definitely interviewing multiple therapists, find out what
Yes.
is their background, what do they specialize in, because every therapist is not the same. They're not all treated equally.
Yes.
Do they know how to help a domestic violence survivor? Have they done therapy for a DV survivor?
Okay.
What are some of the methods of treatment that they use, or what are some of the ways that they can explain how to cope through certain things, right? So you just
Okay.
have to ask the right questions. Don't just jump in right away just
Okay.
because their title is
Okay.
therapist.
Because I've heard so many great reviews of people,
Mm-hmm.
even on different podcasts, or that you've come in contact with, that they do therapy, and even friends I know
Mm-hmm.
that they do therapy and they've seen great results. They look forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad that you informed me that you have to shop around, because
Absolutely.
I think when you don't find the perfect fit the first time, you can get discouraged,
Yeah.
especially if we're spending our money as well.
Yeah.
And I don't think therapy is cheap.
It's not cheap. But
So
that has happened to me too, where
yeah,
like I did get discouraged in the beginning. I'm like, I'm not finding the right person. And I put it down for some time,
yes,
but then it comes back up again. Like, no, I really need to get to therapy, and then
mm-hmm,
you pick it back up. So just give yourself some grace and be patient with yourself in the process.
yes,
You don't have to rush through it, right? And don't rush therapy either. So,
mm-hmm. I think I'm definitely at that place. I didn't think I needed therapy.
mm-hmm,
I thought I can pray this through.
mm,
But like you said, it takes prayer and therapy. So I'm finally at the point where I am able to acknowledge it. Like even doing this and
yeah,
speaking on it, I feel like this is me starting that healing journey for real.
yeah.
Because we could say, oh, I'm past it, but really deep down inside, we just buried it. We didn't,
You suppressed it.
you
Yeah.
suppressed it. We didn't really get past it. So just making this first step of bringing awareness, I think, is the start of healing. And I think therapy sounds like a great idea for anybody,
Yeah.
not just if you're a domestic violence survivor. I think therapy is good. I've heard many great things about therapy. I did do therapy when I was a teenager
Mm-hmm.
after experiencing some conflict in our home.
Mm-hmm.
My mom and I were verbally and physically abused from my stepfather. So that took a lot of healing
Yeah.
because first of all, especially for parents, I'm not a parent yet, but I'm more than sure when your kids become teenagers, that's the funny time. They're just learning who they are. You get what I'm saying? Like they're getting their personality.
Yeah.
They're not adults, but they're on the journey of becoming adults. They're finding out about different things that they didn't know at a different age.
Yeah.
So just the fact that I was at that age, but I was also dealing with something that
Was
was
traumatizing.
breaking me,
Yeah.
before I even became a woman. Um, it was very tough. It also created conflict with me and my mom, not in the sense of she was doing something, but it was more so an unintentional pain because that was her husband.
Yeah.
So I thought, in my eyes, you know, because you're allowing this to happen, I feel alone in my
Mm-hmm.
own home.
Mm-hmm.
At this moment, I don't feel like my mom sees me as a person. And then, of course, our abuser, I don't, he definitely don't see us as someone um, to care about their feelings or care about their well being. And growing up, I understood the position my mother was in. And I realize now that she was abused too.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you say to people experiencing abuse at that age?
Mm-hmm. So from your mother's perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and kudos to her for leaving that situation,
Yeah.
right? And getting the help that you guys needed because unfortunately a lot of times people stay and the kids are even more traumatized
Yeah.
because they think that staying is better for the children than leaving. But with as far as your mother's perspective goes, I think that she did the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
She did the best that she could do, and she was trying to survive herself and get through it.
Mm-hmm.
And you had no idea as a child, like you said, but as you got older, you realized that.
Yes.
And I'm hoping and I'm glad that you guys have repaired the relationship to a better place now, where you're not resentful or upset with her about what you
Mm-hmm.
experienced. But from a child's perspective, right, that's dealing with domestic violence,
Mm-hmm.
um, they need to find the best person, best adult that they can trust and tell
Yes.
them what's happening so that they can get help, right? Because it's not a
Yes.
safe environment. And hopefully they are not stuck in that situation.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's very touchy. Um, being involved in domestic violence, but also seeing your loved one being hurt from it,
Yeah.
and there's nothing that they can do. Um, God has brought me and my mom a long, long, long way. And I'm just so proud of my mother and myself as well, our growth after experiencing that. And to know that what has happened to you, to any domestic violence survivor, what has happened to you does
Mm.
not define who you are as a person. I did later on experience domestic violence later on in life, in
Mm.
my 20s, and that was different for sure,
Yeah.
because it became a different level of abuse. I experienced a different level with my stepdad. It wasn't consistent like it was with the person I ended up being in a relationship with. Can you break down the different stages of abuse in a relationship with a man and woman?
So I think it varies based on the relationship, right?
Yes.
But there are honeymoon phases that
Mm-hmm.
people go through in every relationship. So there's good days, right?
Yes.
I need people to understand that there's good days in the
Yes.
relationship. And sometimes those good days is what messes with your mind, right?
Yes.
And so then when the bad days come, when the physical violence comes or the verbal abuse, the arguing, whatever it may be, you remember those good moments
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, man, I know what this person is capable of,
Yes.
but at the same time, I know he or she has potential to do better. And you want to believe that they can do better. They are going to do better. You want to believe the apologies and all the I'm sorries and
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes even the tears and the crocodile tears,
The
I would say the
tears.
crocodile tears.
The crocodile tears for sure.
Yeah, you want to believe that they're really genuinely sorry and that
Mm.
they really do love you and that they are not going to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
But so then you go through the honeymoon phase, right? Everything's good, everything's
Mm-hmm.
perfect, but then you are still walking on eggshells where
Yes.
you feel like, man, I got to be careful and make sure I don't piss them off, right?
Yes.
Make sure I don't piss her off, right? So she doesn't snap or he doesn't snap, because I want to be clear, men get abused too, right?
Yes, they do.
And unfortunately, is just underreported. It's not
Mm-hmm.
as reported as cases with women,
Yes.
but they do get abused too. And so you walk on these eggshells and you're trying to be perfect, or you want things to be perfect, so to speak, and there's no such thing,
Right.
right? You can't control how the other person is going to react, how they're going to respond to certain things. You don't know
Yes.
what's going to trigger them, first of all. And so you try to do everything perfectly when there's no such thing. And
Yes.
you're walking in this lane of anxiety and you're just trying to, make it work. And it's not going to work until that person gets help, until you get help.
Yes.
And so there's just cycles of abuse where there's a honeymoon phase, and of course it can climax to something else, but it just stays in this circle, this cycle, this pattern until someone decides to step out of it and
Mm-hmm.
walk away.
And I'll be honest, the honeymoon phase was fun.
It's always fun.
And I want us to stress that,
Mm-hmm.
because domestic violence doesn't start off with a certain look.
Right.
The signs aren't immediate. And also, just to stress that for people who's looking on the outside in, no one's gonna volunteer themselves to be involved in a domestic violence
Right.
situation or relationship, but the signs are not that clear,
Right. Right.
because they use a certain tactic, majority of them.
Manipulation,
Mm-hmm.
the psychological abuse,
Mm-hmm.
and they know who to target, right? Um, the narcissists know exactly who to target. But I think the most important thing is understanding what are the signs, first and foremost. even though they may not be apparent right away.
Mhm.
But there might be some signs like excessive jealous behavior. Do they have a problem with you hanging out with your friends? Are they trying to control you, right?
Mhm.
Love bombing, right? We talked about that. Love bombing and what that looks like. It's not just gifts, right? It could just
Mhm.
be emotional love bombing.
Yes.
They're trying to, pressure you to get into this serious relationship rather quickly when you should be
Mhm.
taking your time. Are they trying to monitor your whereabouts through social media? They want to know exactly where you're going to be, who you're going to be with. They want to know
Mhm.
when you're going to get home. These are all things to look out for early on, and pay attention to the signs are key. And as soon as you see it, I would suggest you walk away.
Yes.
Don't wait. I need people to really understand, like, you don't have to wait for it to get bad for you to take it seriously.
Mhm.
Like, look at the signs, even if they're signs that are, low warning signs, right?
Yes.
They're not that severe, but take them seriously as well, and step away from that relationship as soon as possible. Don't take it lightly.
I agree. Don't look back. Don't overthink. Don't double think.
You're right.
Don't think anything. Just just go the opposite direction because it's definitely um a tactic they
Yeah.
use.
Spending too much time with you, or they want to spend too much time with
Like
you.
they want to be your only friend.
Yeah.
I think for me, when I experience the stages, because I was able to reflect
Mm-hmm.
when I got older. And I was like, okay, the signs were there after I did
Mm-hmm.
research. I'm a research girly. So I experienced early on, in my home, that was a different type of domestic situation for me.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't, my stepdad wasn't love bombing me, things of that nature. I didn't even see him do that to my mom. I
Mm-hmm.
think he just had anger issues and
Mm-hmm.
he didn't
Know how to manage it.
know how to manage it. But with my, you know, the previous person I was with, it was totally different and I never seen it nor did I experience before.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know what to look for, but what I did realize is that they want to take all of your time.
Mm-hmm.
Every single piece of time that you have, they don't want you with your family. They don't want you with your friends. They don't, if you don't have to work, they'll make sure you don't have to work as well. They'll make it very comfortable for you. And you
Right.
could easily think, oh, they're trying to provide or they're just trying to create this life because, when you get married, it is just husband and wife, and then we create our own home. But that was the one that stuck out to me the most is that they ice they will isolate you.
Isolation is one of the signs for sure. Fear
Mhm.
and isolation. So if you are no longer able to hang out with friends and family, like you said, that's a problem. You need to
Yeah.
have some type of balance. You still need to maintain relationships outside of that
Relationships.
relationship in order for it to be considered a healthy relationship, right?
Mhm.
And then you also want to consider the fact that the financial abuse piece that you talked about, going back to
Mhm.
that, domestic violence has no socioeconomic background.
Mhm.
It doesn't discriminate against race, gender. It could happen to anyone.
Anybody.
Financial abuse happens in 99% of domestic violence relationships. So it usually
Mhm.
goes hand in hand with some other type of abuse. And people need to really understand the importance of financial literacy, right? But also
Yes.
being financial independent. There are women who are in, you know, who come from money, or they're in a relationship where their spouse is taking care of them financially and they don't have to worry about anything.
Yes.
They don't have to work anymore. And that's how it happens, right? And then
Mhm.
so you may have had a college degree, you may have started your career early, had a good trajectory, right?
Yes.
And then all of a sudden you decide to quit, be a stay at home mom, you're taking care of your children, you're relying on this person, and then it turns into this situation where you realize, man, I'm in an abusive relationship, not just financially, but it could be other factors. Control,
Yes.
right? Controlling behaviors. But they are controlling the finances. You don't have no idea where the money is. You don't know
Yes.
how to manage your money anymore. You have no access to money, or they're telling you how much money to use and calling it a budget. right?
Yes.
People try to disguise things and as something that it's really not. So if
Yes.
you don't have access to your money, you can't use a certain amount of money without permission. That those are all signs
That's
to look out for.
abuse.
It's financial abuse.
Okay.
Yeah, it's financial abuse, and you don't want to be put in a position where you do want to leave one day and you realize that you can't. You have no savings, you have no access to the funds because you've been supported all these years by this individual.
It's so many ways.
So many layers to it.
It's so many layers, and I'm just so happy to have you on the podcast because I think from the world's point of view, domestic violence or abuse is only just physical.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of people think it's just physical, and it's not.
It's so many layers. The verbal, the financial, verbal as well is.
Yeah.
It might be worse than, to be honest, it might be worse than physical.
The emotional and the verbal abuse took longer for me to heal past
Yeah.
than the physical, because the physical bruises go away.
Yes.
But the name calling, the shame, putting you down, all of
Mhm.
that hurts, and
It
it messes
hurts.
with your mind over time, and you think that you are not worthy enough to be loved properly. You don't think
Yes.
that you're gonna find love. You don't think that you're worth it. It all plays with your mind, your self-esteem, your confidence level, and that takes time to heal and really get past and get through, and erasing all of that and really telling yourself that you are worth it.
Yes.
You are valuable. You are beautiful. Because they make you feel like you're not,
They
especially
do.
with the cheating. That's a form of emotional abuse too.
Yes.
I need people to understand that. Like the constant cheating, like it's a pattern. Pay
Mhm.
attention to this.
Yeah.
It's a pattern of cheating, and it could be from one person to another.
Mhm.
This person needs to get help. Like
Yes.
they need to go through therapy. There's something there. There's a root cause behind it, and that's
Yes.
not normal. That's not okay. You deserve more. You deserve better, and they shouldn't make you feel otherwise.
I love it. I agree. I can definitely say for myself, the verbal abuse was the worst.
Mm,
Because, like they say, it's easy to learn something, but it's harder to unlearn something.
mm-hmm.
And after being abused verbally, you start to say the things they said to you, and you start to believe the things they believed about you. So I think it's very hard to reprogram yourself
Yeah.
that I am safe in
Mm-hmm.
this relationship when you move on with someone,
Right.
or I am beautiful, or I am strong, I am capable, I
Right.
am not what they called me. How did you move forward?
From those mean words.
Yes.
All of those ugly words.
It
I it did
hurts.
for a long
Yeah.
time, and I'll never forget. Like one of the last lines that I heard my abuser say was like, "You're never gonna find anyone like me."
Yeah.
And
They always say that.
and I'm thinking at the moment, man, I'm never gonna find anyone like him. I'm
Yeah.
never gonna find love. No one's gonna want me. I'm damaged goods. I have a child. I'm a single mom. I was thinking all these things. Like it went into a whirlwind of negative thoughts. And once it hit me, like it clicked, it made me realize I don't want to find anyone like you. Duh. Like
Of course.
you're right. I'm never gonna find anyone like you. Thank you for saying that. Like once I realized the truth, I realized that I don't need someone like him. He was just speaking the truth to me, and I wasn't realizing he was telling me the truth. And it took all of that for me to really be set free. And I did a lot of affirmations. I would have sticky notes on my mirror, and I would tell myself that I am beautiful, I am strong, I am capable, I am worthy, I am successful, I am loved. I would say all these affirmations and remind myself, look at myself in the mirror daily, and until I believed it, right?
Yes.
And it took some time. It took a long time, years
Mm-hmm.
actually, of kind of speaking that out loud and
Mm-hmm.
allowing those words to catch up with my thoughts. and
Mm-hmm.
really my emotions and how I really felt and how I really am, right?
Yes.
Because at one point I didn't see myself as beautiful.
Yes.
And so, but yeah, affirmations and journaling, I would say definitely. And then I started taking walks. I
Okay.
love being by the water. So I started taking walks on the beach, and
Okay.
that helped me as well. So everyone has, I guess you have to figure out, what does healing look like for you?
Let's pause. Well, we are gonna pause because we're currently in Houston
Oh, I know.
and I am a Miami. What beach are you speaking of?
There's no beach here.
Okay.
I'm not originally from Houston. There's no beach here. I mean, I think unless you go to Galveston, but I don't know
Yes.
what that looks like. I heard terrible things about
Okay.
Galveston.
Okay.
But I live by a lake, right? So
Okay.
I love walking around the lake, for example. So any
Okay.
form of body of water. It doesn't have to be a beach.
Okay.
But I do love water. Water is calming for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, you just have to find something that calms
Yes.
that spirit,
Yes.
calms you. I also love journaling. I think journaling is a great way to put your thoughts out
Mm-hmm.
that you can't say
Right.
or you haven't said.
Right.
I think journaling is a great way to heal, and I love affirmations,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you just buy a book that's affirmations, or even we have the internet. So it's so easy to find things, but even looking up affirmations when I was on my healing journey, not in regards to domestic violence, but grief,
Mm-hmm.
from my grandmother, affirmations were really, really, really good for me. Even when I didn't know what to say, I would look up affirmations and I would say those things to myself until I believed them.
Right.
And it works super well. I think it's a great exercise for anyone who just wants to speak life to their self. If you don't know the words, look up some affirmations on the internet and just speak life into yourself. Life is in the power of the tongue,
Absolutely.
and you have to encourage yourself. Even when there's no one to encourage you, you
Mm-hmm.
have to be able to encourage yourself and be your biggest cheerleader. I just want to congratulate you
Thank you.
on being a voice in our community. You have your nonprofit, Going Out Divine,
Yes.
and you also have your podcast, Voices Restored.
Yes.
So, how has it been operating in those lanes of having a nonprofit and your podcast? What events do you do with your nonprofit?
Okay. So can we go back for a second?
Okay.
With our In Her League Teen Girls program, we also teach them about affirmations.
Okay.
And they have the I am, and they could add whatever they need to add after those dot, 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 right? I am confident. I am beautiful. I am smart. I am capable. I am successful, right? Whatever it is that they're dealing with at that moment, they create their own affirmations. And I think it's important that we teach the teens early through our In Her League program about
Mm-hmm.
affirmations and speaking positively about themselves,
Yes.
and not necessarily waiting for someone to pour into you, but pour into yourself.
Love
But that's so
that.
important. And I do want to add that the healing journey for me also required prayer, and also required believing that God was a healer for me. You know,
Yes.
without him, I am nothing. And so I did a lot of prayer. I did surround myself in church with other church friends,
Okay.
and joined different ministries
Mm-hmm.
that helped me have that strong support system that I needed
Mm-hmm.
with other women, and also just listening to the word of God,
Yes.
and reciting scriptures, certain scriptures for healing. That is super important, in addition to your affirmations, in addition to your journaling. Without God, nothing is possible. That's my belief.
You said it best. The more I read scripture, the better I understand things that's happening around me, and
Mm-hmm.
that sometimes we can't control everything.
Right.
First of all, we
We
can't
can't control
control
anything.
anything, period.
I've learned that in life.
We can't control anything, period, but it's certain things that God allow us to go through,
Right.
point blank, period, because that's just the way it is.
Yes.
So I do think reading scripture helps a lot to navigate life overall, but prayer is definitely a great tool
Yes.
to have For someone who's not strong in that area or
Mm-hmm.
may not even know how to pray, what is the first steps of praying, you would say?
Mm-hmm. So I think that prayer is simply just having a conversation, just like we're having a conversation right now.
Okay.
God hears all, He knows all, right?
Okay.
And even the silent prayers, I've learned that He's heard things that I wasn't able to articulate to Him, right? That I wasn't able to say whatever it was, whether it was a need or how I was feeling, a secret prayer, a wish of mine, a desire of mine. He heard it
Mm.
and He answered it. And it made me realize, man, God is there. God is listening
Mhm.
to every single detail. And so just having a simple conversation, and it could start with, God, I'm not feeling good today. Or God, I need XYZ. I need XYZ with my car, with my home, whatever it is. Or heal my dad, heal my mother.
Mhm.
Just a simple one liner, right? It doesn't have to be anything extensive. And I think sometimes people get caught up in perfectionism, or they feel like, you have to have this long winded prayer in order for God to
Yes.
hear you. But He just wants you to come as you are, whether it's blessed, broken, bruised, whatever it is. He just wants to hear you and spend time with you as His daughter or His son. And it's just an intimate moment and just really expressing
Mm.
yourself and having a conversation. That's it. Just like you would talk to your friends
Mhm.
or talk to a parent, just having a simple conversation. It doesn't need to be anything elaborate,
Mhm.
performative. It doesn't need to be scripted. Just
Mhm.
come as you are and just talk. Just talk.
You broke that down so good. I'm a prayer, but I've definitely struggled with, okay, should I be praying
Mm,
a different way? Because you may see other people pray, and in your mind, you're like, I don't pray like that.
yeah,
Like, am I praying right? But breaking it down that way makes me feel so much more comfortable. And I hope it made other people feel comfortable that
yeah,
if they haven't started the journey of praying because you don't know how to, you don't know where to start, that it's just a conversation. It's just a conversation
just a
with our
conversation.
father, with our dad, who he does it all.
Yeah, and
He's
He's just waiting.
everywhere.
And He's just waiting for
He's
you.
he's just
That's it. He's
waiting.
just waiting for you just to come talk to Him, acknowledge Him, and say hello, And when I was in that wounded, broken place, it was just more like, God, I can't do this anymore. And that was it. That's all I said. Help me.
Mhm.
And that's what He did. He made me see a way out and made me realize that I was more, I had more, like I was worthy enough for more. He made me see
Mhm.
it. And it was, He did it in His own way.
Mhm.
People think that leaving an abusive relationship is easy to do. It's
No.
not. But when you don't see a way out, God will make a way out. And
Mhm.
the way He did it for me was simply through a book, right? It was
Mm.
simply through a book that was written by Pastor Joe Osteen, actually. It was his first
Wow.
book. And someone gifted me a Barnes and Noble's gift card. An ex-employee of mine, coworker, I'm sorry, an ex-coworker of mine gifted me a Barnes and Noble's gift card. And she would always read these spiritual, faith-based books at her desk. We worked at a
Okay.
bank, and I covered her station for a couple minutes, and she had this book on her desk, and I started reading the
Mm.
first couple pages. There was no cover on it because we weren't allowed to leave covers.
Okay.
And I started reading the first couple pages, and it immediately grabbed my attention. It captivated me. And she came back, and I was like, "What book is this? This is so good." And she was like, "It's called Living Your Best Life Now by Pastor Joel Osteen. You should go get yourself a copy. Here's a Barnes and Noble's gift card. I only have $15 on it, but you should have enough to get it."
Oh.
That changed my entire life because I was living paycheck to paycheck, trying to make ends meet, like I mentioned, couldn't even afford to buy myself a book, right? And that
Yes.
$15 she allowed me to go purchase it. I read that book in 48 hours.
48.
48 hours I finished. That's how captivated I was.
How many pages?
I don't even remember. That was
But
so
a
long ago.
whole book,
I finished
that's
a whole book in 48 hours. I couldn't put it down. It was God speaking to me through that book, through the words on the pages. And something unlocked inside of me and made me realize that I was valuable and life was worth living, and that there was more to to life than just this and where I was at that moment. And $40, I had $40 in my name until my next paycheck, and I had $40 to change the locks on my door. That's what it
Mm.
was to change the locks on my door, $40. And I called the landlord, had him change locks, and packed all his belongings, left it on the porch, and didn't look back from
That is bizarre
there.
and proof that, because I've been in this place, and I'm more than sure we all have been in this place. Your yes is not for you, it's for someone
Mm,
else.
mm,
So, Pastor Joel Osteen saying yes to writing that book
absolutely.
was really for you.
And probably for, and I'm sure
And,
hundreds
and
of
I'm
thousands.
and I'm more than
Yeah,
sure thousands of other people,
right.
but you being obedient and saying yes to whatever God is calling you to is not,
It's connected to
it's
so many
connected to
people.
so many people. That's why it's so important for us to be obedient, say yes.
Man, that gave me chills because it's so true. Like, your obedience is connected to so many people, and don't delay it. Don't delay it, because it could be holding someone else back from deliverance, from
Wow.
freedom. And that was his first book. And he's written so many more since then.
Mm-hmm.
But his first book changed my entire life, my entire life. And I could have been dead if I didn't read that book. I could have killed myself if I didn't read that book, because there were times where I thought about suicide, you
Yeah.
know. And so his obedience was connected to me. That's powerful. That's
Yeah.
powerful that you said that. I never thought about it that way, but it's absolutely true. And
Mm-hmm.
so, creating the organization Going Out Divine
Yes.
was my yes to God, because I sat on it for a while thinking that I, you know, didn't have to do it, or thinking
Yeah.
that I shouldn't do it, or that I wasn't worthy enough to do it, or I wasn't smart enough to do it. And then I finally realized that no, now's the time. I need to move forward with this dream, this passion of mine to help other women, to help teenagers come out of
Yeah.
these type of situations or avoid these situations, right? And
Yeah.
so I finally became obedient, and I had to repent for that because I sat on it for a while. I had to repent because I held up someone else's freedom and deliverance,
Yeah.
and I had to acknowledge that. But yeah, your obedience is connected to others for
Yeah.
sure.
And on that note, I think we've had a amazing conversation. I'm so grateful to have shared this space with you. This was my first time publicly speaking of domestic violence,
I'm proud
and
of you for that too.
thank
I'm
you.
proud of you.
And I'm happy that you have created a space for women like me and all over the world to feel, be comfortable, whether it's watching your podcast, Voices Restored, or with your organization, Going Out Divine. You
Thank you.
just creating that space and being a voice for the voiceless, because so many women don't speak about it. Statistically, it's 1 out of 3 women that have been abused in regards to domestic violence. I want anyone to know that if you are in that type of situation, to never be afraid to move forward. It is better for you, and you don't have to stay. And for the survivors, that your past, what you've gone through, does not define you. Any last words that you have, Miss Martine?
I think you said it best. I mean, your past doesn't define you, and God has so much more for your future.
Yes.
This is not it for you. So trust the process, trust God, and leave safely.